Hello viewers, welcome back. We are now in our first video, and this is video number 1 of part 1 of our 10 parts of this tutorial from Microsoft Office Word. So as we are seeing, we are going to look at the places where we can save our work. So before we do that, let's try to look at this is also going to be our lesson number 1 in that part 1. Remember our part 1 was document basics. So I want you to remember that every part we finish, we are going to be having something like an assignment, something like an exercise. It will be a personal item. What you're supposed to do, you compare what we've learned from all these videos, and you have something. We have something that at least can show the skills we've been talking about, because I told you in every video we are going to be looking at, we are going to have to know the skills that we have actually acquired from that particular video. So let's now look at maybe the overview of this video. That's exploring the places to save work. So when using a computer, saving an electronic document is much like saving hard copies of documents. They need to be put somewhere. Like for instance, just imagine your computer is a file cabinet with many drawers, and in each drawer there are folders, and in each folder there are sub-folders and files. So just as you would never just toss a document into a random drawer, you would never save work without first deciding on which drawer or on which drive or on which folder to save it. Once the drive or the folder has been chosen, you can be even more specific about your organization and save the work, or you save the file to a particular folder within that drive. So as you can see, when you're using computers, we need to save these documents electronically. Like we save it, and when we come back, we can actually be able to retrieve the document and have a look at it. So before you actually save these documents, you have to first decide, where should I put this file, and how am I going to name the file before saving it for easy identification. Because one of the reasons that will force you to choose which location or which drive you are going to use to save your file is that the accessibility. If you are not going to be with your laptop all the time, you may decide that let me just save my document online, so that even when I don't have a laptop, I can actually access my document. So accessibility is going to force you to determine where you are going to save the document, depending on how accessible it will be when you need it. So in this lesson, you will identify and explore the places that our work or our files can be saved. You will not be required to save any work as of now, but what we are just going to do is just to know the places where we can save our work. So since we are not going to save anything and we are not going to have any document we are saving, but what we are just doing is exploring the things that we can use to save our work. So that was just the overview of the lesson. And one is going to be wondering, what are some of the things that we may use to save our document if at all you don't have? Remember, we said these tutorials, they are coming from the basic principles to intermediate, then to advanced. For those who find these, you know where to save, but just stick to the video and be able to understand how fast can you do that, because others know what to do, but here we are looking at how fast can we do that. So let's now try to look at the terms and the tools. In other words, the tools are going to be representing those different drives where we are going to save our work. And the terms, we need to memorize some of the terms that when I say local drive, it's like you know what it means and you can actually understand when I talk about it. So we are going to review the following tools and we will learn and practice using. In other words, we are going to learn these tools because these are the same tools that we are going to be using in this course. And even when, because you may be required maybe to save your work on your desktop, to save your work on a given folder, so we need to see what is the name of that tool and how do we actually save the work. So let's now try to look at some of those tools. One of the tools, we are going to look at them here from our laptop. We look at them and we see how they are. So we can now maybe try to open this blank document. This is not what we are studying for now, but I just want to take you through those different areas. So go to File, how to save. Let's just go to the Save button. So that's where we are going to start from. So we have one of them is local drive. The second one is network drive. The third one is any removable drive. It may be a memory card, it may be a CD drive, it may be a flash drive, it may be anything. Then the last one is the cloud drive. Then we shall also look at what we call the file manager. So let's try to have a look at each of them. This one is the one that we call the cloud drive. This is one of an example of a cloud drive, that one drive. But now I want to access from our browser here. We go to our browser, we see the documents, we see the things that are available there. We are not saving this file, but we are just trying to look at some of the things that we have. Let's try to make this a little bit bigger. So let's try to look from this point here. This is the point that I want you to focus on. So we've spoke about what we call the local drive. A local drive is this one. This is the local drive. This is our local drive. This location here is our local drive, the whole of this. This is our local drive. Then down here is what we call the network drive. it is this one right here. This is our network drive. Then any removable drive, it might be a CD drive, this one. If I click on it, it will bring please insert the CD drive, because we have not inserted any CD compact disk. It's not there. So this is one of the removable drive. You can put it, you can remove it. It can be a flash, it can be anything. Then these two, this one, I've said this one and this one, they represent the same thing. These are the local drive, the ones that are within. So we are now going to look at the one that we call the file manager. That one we shall look at it later, but let's focus on this. Let me try to see if I can highlight. We get a screenshot of this. These are the things that we are focusing on. Those are the ones that we are focusing on. So you can cancel this one, and maybe you come back to the document and we'll paste it here. We can paste it here for us to be able to see. So these are the areas, these are the things that we are focusing on. These are the things that we are focusing on. So these are the things that we are looking at for now. You can maybe just remove that a little bit to have that kind of space. So those are the things that we've been looking at. This, we said this is our local drive. This one and this one, these are our local drive, though they are named differently, but they are all local drives. This one is our removable drive. Then this one is our network drive. So we are going to look at each of those and we see what they are and when do we use them. So the first one is the local drive or the local disk drive. A computer's local drive is a hard drive located inside your computer. It is the place that programs are typically installed and where files can be saved. So if files are saved to a computer's local drive, they can only be opened from that particular computer. So the first one, the local drive or the local disk drive, these are our hard drives. And those hard drives, they are within our laptops. If you are using a desktop, they are within your CPU, the central processing unit. And that's the brain. It's like the brain where we keep all the information if at all we want to memorize it. Maybe we want to store our information there, we store our applications there, that anytime we want to use them, we can actually access them from that point. But now the issue with the local drive is that if you save your work on a particular local drive, remember it is within your computer, it is the hard disk that is within your computer. It means you can only access that document when you are using that computer. That's one of the challenge. It's that it is fixed in one place. It can't be accessed from any other point. It can only be accessed from that same computer you stored your data to. And these, we've said, these are our hard disk drives. The hard disk, those ones, they even sell. You can go and buy an external hard disk if maybe your internal hard disk is now full. Some of them you may find that this one I have 500 GB, gigabytes, and I want to put, maybe I want to insert a 1 TB, 1 terabyte hard disk. So you go and buy the other one, you keep this one aside, and you put the other one inside. So it is where we install all the softwares that we are using in the computer. Hope we can be able to understand that. Then now we want to go to our network drives. The network drive, in other words, for these network drives, just the way you hear network, they are things that are going to be stored on internet, and that's it. This is the network we are talking about, the network drive. And for these network drives, we find that many organizations such as schools and companies, you find that these schools and companies, they are going to give you access. They are going to give every users or their employees access, or students, they give them access to a shared computer drive. And when they give you a password, maybe they have given you access, they have given you login details. And these login details, they are helping you access that shared computer drive. And that's what we call the network drive. So this network drive is a very large hard drive, and it contains files from all users in the organization or in the school. You may find that we have so many computers, but we are only giving users, like the students, we are giving the employees just the login passwords for them to access that hard disk if at all they want to save their work. So we find that the work is within that central point. Everyone is just sharing their work there. So you find that that large hard disk contains files from all the users in the organization or in the school. And it will only require you to have a login, maybe from your network manager or your network provider, to be able to have access. And now the challenge with this is that once you save your work to a network drive, you can only access that work when you have logged in. You get your password or your login details, and you be able to put those logins and access your documents. Because the reason as why they are giving you access, they are giving you login details, is that this hard disk has so many documents for the different users for a given period of time. So if you want to access anything, you have to ask for the logins that you used when you are saving that work to that point. So that's what we call the network drive. You may find it is only one hard disk, and it is the one that all the computers are using in that organization. That's what we call the network drive. They are connected by the network because it is from one point spreading to the other users. And that's different from the cloud. We're not saving on internet. It's not basically on internet, but it is just networking. They are just connected to each other. The other computer is connected to that single server. The other computer is connected to that single server. So to access the documents you have shared to that point, you have to have a password or login details. But that doesn't mean that we are sharing the documents online. No. So that was the second one. Then the third one is the removable drive. This is our example of a removable drive, the CD drive. Now, there are many types of removable storage devices which a computer can accept. For example, we may have an external hard disk drive. We may have USB drives. They are also referred to as thumb drives or flash drives. Those flash disks, memory cards, and all that. So now, often these drives are used to back up files, but they are also used to transport your work from one computer to another computer. That's one of the advantages, is that if you save your work on an external drive, you can be able to move that external drive to another computer and you be able to access your file from there. The only challenge is that if these computers are infected, if they have viruses, if maybe the storage device is having a virus, you're having a risk of transferring the virus to other computers or even having your files lost. But we've said flash disks, memory cards, USB, external hard drives, and CD drives. There are so many other things that we can use to store our data when it's not on the internet. So let's look at now the fourth one, which is the cloud drive. Cloud drives or the cloud storage drives allows a user to work with files that are physically unattached to your computer. In other words, you are using these files, but the files are not connected to your computer automatically. They are not physically in your computer. Files are saved to a place that is accessed via the web, or you can actually save this work on those different cloud web platforms where you can be able to save your work, and this is going to allow the users to have access to these files from anywhere as long as they are connected to internet. As long as they have internet connection, they can have access to their cloud drives. And some of the examples of these cloud storage drives, we have OneDrive. Second, we have the Google Drive. Third, we have the Dropbox. So these are some of the online webs that we can allow us to save our work. So many cloud storage platforms provide an application to work on the file. Because now, if for example, when you're opening a Word document from OneDrive, the user has the option to edit the document directly in their web browsers without having to open their Microsoft Word programs. These online applications, such as the Word Online, provide automatic saving of your files to your cloud storage. As you work, the application will periodically save your changes without you having to initiate the save option. In other words, These online versions, they give you an extra advantage in a sense that you can actually access your documents anywhere as long as you have internet connection. Two, you can be able to edit those documents you have uploaded in your online storage facilities and be able to save the changes without necessarily using the Microsoft Word application. So those are some of the things that we can see. We are seeing some of the advantages of some of these storage items that we have. But there is something that we've not talked about, is what we call a file manager. You can maybe delete this for now. You can try to go to save again. You can browse. We want to look at the file manager. We see I wanted to get something that can help us to get that, but it seems we can't have it there. But I'm going to illustrate it, and we can be able to know. But the file manager is just, it's not necessarily a storage facility, but it is just an interface. The interface you use to view your computer's folder. In other words, the interface you use to view your computer folder's structure is what we call the file manager. One, we have Windows 10, Windows 10, Windows 11, and the other Windows that you may be using on your computer. But for Windows 10, Windows 10 utilizes File Explorer, the File Explorer. And that Windows 10, for those that are using Windows 10, we are using File Explorer. And when you launch that File Explorer, it allows the user to see the folders and files located on the computer's hard drive. The ones that are on the hard drive, the ones that are on the network drive, and any connected removable drive. So it is something that is containing all the things that you can see from this point. You can actually see all the documents that we have on our hard disk, the network drives, and any connected removable drives. Some cloud storage drives may also be visible if the computer has been configured to internet and you have connected it automatically to your cloud storage account. Like for this, you can see from this point, we are seeing we have one drive. Though there are no documents, but at least you can see it here. We are going to look at some of those things and we'll see how we can be able to do those things. So we are also going to be able to see how you can actually connect your OneDrive account and you connect it to your computer so that you can actually see, just like you are seeing here, it is connected, but there are no documents. It's not connected because we are not seeing any document that has been saved on that OneDrive. But that OneDrive cloud storage folder, it will appear there and it will show you the files. So we shall see how we connect that on a web, and we see how we can be able to upload and download the saved documents. So Now we want to look at maybe the skills. What have we learned? In this video, we've been able to learn how to use the file manager. We have actually learned the uses of the file manager, because we've seen that it is that file manager that is keeping all those files that we may access from the hard drive, from the network drive, removable disks, and all that. So you'll find those points there. The file explorer, you can find it and see all these that we are talking about. So we've also been able to understand the tools that we can be able to use to save our document. But now we want also to learn how to be able to create a folder, log into our online OneDrive, that is the online storage drive, and we see how we can be able to connect our OneDrive to the computer, to our computer. That's what we are going to be looking at. So we can have this as a practical, because we said this is going to be a little bit more theoretical, and at the end of the day we do some practical aspects. So we are now going to look at in this same lesson, we want to also to see how we can be able to set up folders on our hard disk or network disk or on our OneDrive. And please, I want you to get this clearly, is that in a sense that these processes that we may go through, depending on the version of Word application we are using, there may be some slight changes. They are not going to be totally different, but they are just slight changes that we may find from our practical aspects. So let's try to look at how we can create a folder on our, first of all, we create on our local disk. How do we create folder on our hard disk? We can create it anywhere. So we can maybe come here and we can right click, we go to new, then we go to folder. It has come, but we want to name it as our, because these are going to be the work that we are going to be looking at. So let's name it Word project, or let me just say my work Word projects. I've saved it on that. This is the folder that we have created. By what have we done? We've just right click anywhere in the space, we go to new, the folder will come by itself. Or the other option, someone can just come here, new folder. When you click on it, you just put in the name of the folder. So we can delete this because we don't want to have two. We can also delete this and we create it on the other one. We create it down here, because we say the whole of these are, we just highlight, we just right click in a blank space, we go to folder. These are my Word projects. Now I've created that folder. You can also go to our network. If you have the network, you can actually create it. You can create it anywhere, because we don't want to create so many. So, but it is better we create it on our local disk. Here we don't have our removable device, so we just create it there. We just put it down there. We have put that already. So that's our first skill. We have learned how to create a folder in that. Then we can also try to connect we set up and we connect our OneDrive account. If you have already created it, you can actually come and put in the folder as this is going to be my online. We just try to change a little bit. My online worker Word projects, or you can call it my online Word files, but let me just call them projects because we are going to be putting very many. So for those who haven't maybe connected, because I've already my OneDrive connected to my computer, but if you haven't, you just go to onedrive.com, you connect, you log in into your OneDrive account from that onedrive.com, and if you log in, you will be able to connect it to your computer. So as we said, these instructions, they may be different depending on the version that you are using. So we finished learning the use of the file manager, creating a folder, and those who haven't logged in, you log in into your OneDrive using onedrive.com. After logging in, you connect to your computer. So that's all that we had to do in our first video of part 1. So in the next video, we are going to look at the navigation. How do we navigate in our Word document? How do we move from one point to another in our Word document? So that's what we are going to be looking at in our lesson 2. But it is lesson 2 of part 1 of our Microsoft Word presentations. Thank you for watching.